What do we want?
Justice!
And when do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
all lives will matter.
One life matters!
All lives will matter. With Black Lives Matter. I can't breathe.
One!
I can't breathe.
Two!
I can't breathe.
Three!
I can't breathe.
Four!
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe!
One.
I can't breathe!
Two.
I can't breathe! Three! I can't breathe!
Four. I can't breathe. Five. I can't breathe. Six. I can't breathe. Seven. I can't breathe. Eight. I can't breathe. Nine. I can't breathe. 10. I can't breathe.
11!
I can't breathe. So, wow. This has been really great. I appreciate everyone who came out to show and stand with us. My family is very grateful. It's been a year and still no answers, still no justice. I thank everybody who tirelessly marched with us, stood out with us, spoke out with us, but we still have a lot to do. 365 days and we still don't know what went on in my father's case. We know that was conspiracy. We know that was a cover-up. We know that Pantaleo still has his job. We know the EMT and EMS workers still have their job. So what is the city doing? So it's our job to not give up and continue to speak up. This is a spot 365 days ago. My father cried out that he couldn't breathe. He wasn't doing it for anything. He was doing it for his kids. He loved his family. He screamed out 11 times in mercy, and nobody tried to help him. The EMS just stood around. Their excuse, the cops didn't let them know how serious it was. You was on scene, so you seen how serious it was. We're gonna keep on fighting. We're gonna keep on doing this. We did this to let them know that we ain't forgetting. We never gonna forget.
That's right.
Not just for Eric Garner, for all the people of police brutality.
That's right.
Because since Eric Garner, it's been 1,000 plus unarmed victims died by the police hands. 365 days passed. People been killed by the cops, and still no accountability. The governor gave us a little thing thinking it's gonna shut us up. Gave us what the mothers wanted, a special prosecutor. But that's not an executive order. That's not guaranteed 6 months from now when the presidential election, they think that people's gonna forget. Well, guess what? We never forgetting nothing. He died in a horrible way. This thing been going on for years. And guess what? We're gonna protest for years. Because this needs to stop. No amount of money, no amount of time, no amount of sorry is gonna bring my father back. It's not gonna bring back the man, the first man that I love. The first man that put a basketball in my hand. The first man that my daughter met. For real. The first man that I ever loved, and they took him from me. And they continue to come up with distractions, headlines. But ain't nobody forget, ain't nobody fooled. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate everyone. My family appreciate everyone. We couldn't be this strong without everyone, nationwide and citywide. This is a movement. This is not a minute. And we're going to continue. We cried. We had sleepless nights. But we still got up to speak to the world, to let them know that we're not going to forget Eric Garner. Because he was a man. He wasn't an animal like they treated him. So.
Justice.
All right.
Justice.
Just justice.
He's alone. How many fights he broke up? How many fights Eric broke up? He broke up fights on the street. He used a teddy bear. He broke up fights on the street. He didn't want to see people hurt each other. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I want to thank people again for coming out, for taking time out. It's been a year since I lost my best friend. A year since I lost my rock, my counselor, my protector. It's been a year since my daughter lost her grandfather. Since my aunts and uncles lost their brother. Since my brothers and sisters lost their father. Since my grandmother lost a son. It's been a year since the last time he was alive. A year since he took those last breaths and said, I can't breathe. My father was a man. He was a human. I remember his love for holidays and family celebrations. We didn't have a lot, but we had what we needed. And nothing made him more happy than seeing the smile on his daughter's faces when she opened up the birthday gifts. He prided himself on bringing her the birthday cake. The cake was never on schedule, but it was always on time. He loved just watching us kids just decorate the tree at Christmas. We never asked him how he got it or where it came from. We was just kids. We loved the whole ritual. Food, family, and the custom of it all. He would take whole days just to play in the park with his grandkids, playing basketball, watching boxing, and playing video games with him. One time I remember him cooking. It was seafood night. He dropped one on the floor and chased us around the house. We were scared for our lives, but we'd laugh until our stomachs hurt. When you hear him described in the media, you don't hear him described that way. You don't hear him described as a man, as a human, as a dad, as a great dad at that. As I reflect on what must have gone, as I reflect on what has gone through his mind, the day he was screaming for his last breath 11 times, it was us. That man that I just described was crying out with all of his life, not to start a movement. He was crying out to be back home to us, for our birthdays and holidays. I thank God that there was a tape. The DA in this case got promoted to Congress. The officer on paid leave has gotten overwhelming financial support. The grand jury records is being covered up and there's no indictment. 1 year and still no answers, no justice. There are Miss Friday. There's many things that's going on here on Staten Island and all over New York. On Friday, July 17th, we are having a white affair in honor of my dad and all lives of police brutality. We have invited and flown in all the mothers: Trayvon Martin's mother, Amadou Diallo's mother, Michael Brown's mother, Sean Bell's mom, Anthony Baez's mom, and Michael Brown's mom, to show that even though it's been a year with no answers and we demanded justice, not only are we remember my father, we remember all lives of police brutality. As you may have heard, all the mothers went down to the governor's office and put pressure on him. That's what we have to continue to do, put pressure on him. This is not over. It's just been 365 days. It went by quick, but it's still unanswered and injustice and no justice. So I say this again to all the people that's coming out, all the people around the world that's out in the street. Keep doing it, because you're bringing attention. You keep the legacy alive. To know that we are not taking this no more. We're not going to lay down and let them step over us. We are not slaves. Martin Luther King had a dream. Malcolm X had a dream. It's a shame 60, 50 years later, we still pushing for that dream. It all depends on us. Our true people's hero. And many people don't know who our true people's hero is. It is my Latino son from another mother, Ramsey Orta. And if it wasn't for Ramsey Orta, we wouldn't be here now. If it wasn't for Ramsey Orta, nobody would know about his friend, Eric Garner. They were friends. Not like that Staten Island event saying that he was just a passerby. They were friends. They got in trouble together because of this racist, genocidal Staten Island and all the other boroughs. He is the one who is in jail now instead of Pantaleo and all the other cops who did what they did. He is in the jail now, and Erica Garner, because of her being out there for her father and going through all what she was going through. He is the one in jail. And we have to stop the system. We have to work together and not let people divide us. Not let people like sharp ass divide us. Not let people who have that sharp ass syndrome thinking that they're going to take care of what they want to do on their terms. We're going to stick together and be there for everybody who has been affected in every way, not only by Black Lives Matter, but by the climate, by genocide. Call it out. All the things that's happening because of this system, this white supremacist system. We have to work together to make a difference. We have to be there in honor of Erica Garner. Say her name. Erica Garner. Say her name.
Erica Garner!
Who's her father?
Eric Garner!
Who's her father?
Eric Garner!
I'm from Staten Island against racism, police brutality. I'm so glad for you guys to join us, but I would like you to remember Ramsey Orta. He has another year to a year and a half, and it'll probably be a year and a half. They keep hitting him with Tier 1 and Tier 2 violations because you can't appeal them. But he got so many of them, he got solitary twice because you can't appeal the other ones. If he got a Tier 3, that's usually the only people who get solitary. He's having a hard time. Visitors are important. We've raised about $3,000 to send visitors up to him, and especially his girlfriend, who has visited him almost every other week. Groveland is hard.
Earlier this year, I attended the vigil of Erica Garner. At this vigil, I saw people crying. People saying that politics is a politics. We don't matter. Our voices don't matter. So at that time, that's when I decided to run. And the reason why I decided to run, because we all matter. Whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Latino, whether you're gay, whatever it is, we all matter. And the only way that we're going to get justice is if we come together. We need to go from demonstration to legislation.
For her father. Inspire the Black Lives Matter movement. In New York City. Fact 2. On July 17, 2014. Erica's father. Eric Garner. Was choked to death by the NYPD. By officer. Daniel Pantaleo. In the following months. Erica organized. Twice weekly rallies. In Staten Island. At the site. Of her father's murder. The longest continuing Black Lives Matter action. In New York City. At the time. Fact 3. Despite cell phone video. On December 3rd. A Richmond County grand jury. Failed to indict. Officer Pantaleo. The NYPD. And Mayor Bill de Blasio. Refused Erica's demands.
To fire him.
In Obama's Justice Department.
Refused to bring charges.
Instead,
Officer Pantaleo.
Fact 4. On December 30th, 2017. No justice.
No peace.
If we don't get it.
Shut it down.
If we don't get it.
Shut it down.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
Erica stood
Erica stood
against the NYPD,
against the NYPD,
against the mayor's office,
against the mayor's office,
against the system
against the system
that killed her father
that killed her father
and eventually
and eventually
killed her.
killed her.
We must never forget
We must never forget
the life of both of them.
the life of both of them.
We're not here to perform.
We're not here to perform.
We're here to raise the life of true revolutionaries.
True revolutionaries.
Never forget
Never forget
Eric Garner.
Eric Garner.
Never forget
Never forget
Erica Garner.
Erica Garner.
Never forget
Never forget
Eric Garner.
Eric Garner.
Never forget
Never forget
Erica Garner.
Erica Garner.
Black power. Black power. I can say it a little stronger than that. Black power.
Black power.
I can't breathe. 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 How many of you are tired from doing that? Because that's how many times that man laid on the floor and cried out before somebody even acknowledged that there was a human being laying on that floor, and even then they left him to die. I came out here today because Erica was a good friend of mine, and we were bound through tragedy. I met her protesting in the streets for her dad. And then when we moved into Staten Island, we started taking the ferry and coming out here and taking the same path all of the time to go visit her father's memorial and chanting the whole way. She was dedicated. No matter how cold, no matter how many people showed up, that girl was out there for her father. And I feel like during her time here, towards the end, a lot of people took advantage of her because she lost her father, because she really didn't have her family.
And this was her family that was out here. Her protest family were the ones that weren't interested in cameras, weren't interested in interviews, weren't interested in any of that, but getting the word out and having a venue to express our anger that here we are in Staten Island and we're protesting, and this man, he goes to Senate, and we were in front and we were yelling and we were screaming and we were trying to stop him. We went in front of the police station. We let it be known. She never stopped. And she never backed down from anybody, down to the President of the United States. Whenever she had something to say to anybody, she said it. There was no hair in her tongue. She wasn't about politics. That's why a lot of times, sometimes she'd make it on the front of the paper because Erica was Erica. She wasn't Erica of this. She was Erica Garner. She was his daughter. And she kept his legacy. She wasn't swayed by anyone. And if by chance you did get a chance to fool her, because there were a couple of people we won't name that did fool her, she saw right through them and told them where they could put it. And that was the one thing I loved about her. So I just want you guys to remember, there is never going to be justice. There's never going to be peace until there is justice. Even though the first thing that I said may be the truth. But there is never going to be any peace from us until there is justice, until someone goes to jail, until they acknowledge that it is wrong to kill people, black and brown, unarmed, in the streets, killing them, killing fathers, killing mothers, killing children. Somebody's got to pay for this. So I thank everybody for coming out here. And I also want to let you know her grandmother would like to address you. I just have to get her on the phone because she's not in the state right now. But she did want to thank everybody for coming and, showing love for her granddaughter. This is a tragedy because these were two beautiful children that were left without a mother, and everyone that knows Erica knows she loved those babies more than life itself. So thank you. And no justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
If we don't get it,
shut it down!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
We are here
We are here
to lift up the life of Erica Garner. Fact one.
Fact one! No matter how long it takes,
We deserve justice.
we deserve justice!
We deserve justice.
We deserve justice!
We deserve justice.
We deserve justice!
I say,
Shut it down! Shut it down!
say her name.
Erica Garner!
What's her name?
Erica Garner!
Say her name.
Erica Garner!
What's her name?
Erica Garner!
What's this for?
Erica Garner!
What's her name?
Erica Garner!
Say her name.
Erica Garner!
What's her name?
Erica Garner!
Justice for.
Erica Garner!
Justice for.
Erica Garner!
No justice. No peace.
Rest in power!
Erica Garner.
Say her name!
Erica Garner.
Rest in power!
Erica Garner.
Say her name!
Erica Garner.
Say her name!
Erica Garner.
Say her name! Erica Garner! Rest in power! Erica Garner! Say her name! Erica Garner! Say her name! Erica Garner!
Say her name.
Erica Garner!
Say her name.
Erica Garner!
Say his name.
Eric Garner!
Say his name.
Eric Garner!
Say his name.
Eric Garner!
What's his name?
Eric Garner!
What's his name?
Eric Garner!
What's his name?
Eric Garner!
Say his name.
Eric Garner!
Say his name.
Eric Garner!
What's his name?
Eric Garner!
What's her name?
Erica Garner!
What's his name?
Eric Garner!
What's her name?
Erica Garner!
What's his name?
Eric Garner!
What's her name?
Erica Garner!
What's her name?
Erica Garner!
What's his name?
Eric Garner!
Okay. Mic check. Mic check. So I have Erica's grandmother. She couldn't be here with us today, but she would like to say some words to all of you. So she's on speakerphone. Go ahead, Miss Gwen.
Hi, I want to say hello and greetings to everyone who's there. And I thank each and every one of you for being with Eric from day one and even beyond her death. This is such an amazing thing. Now we know who our true friends are, and I know that you are her true friends. And I'm so proud of you, each and every one of you that came out today. And I just want to say God bless you and Happy New Year.
Thank you. We love you.
They said they love you. Okay, Miss Gwen, I'll speak to you, okay? This was amazing. Out of all the times that we've ever come out here, we have never shut down Bay Street. We have never had the buses like that. It's been so few people that honestly cars are like able to either whiz past us, or I don't think we ever thought to just stop in the street. But this was amazing, and she would have loved to see this. She would have loved to be here. Like, she just had fun with the chants. She made it fun. Like, she would walk, she'd play with it, she'd lay down on the floor, she'd be chanting with the megaphone. So we really, you guys, you did an amazing job. Like, we really kept her memory alive. I felt like she was marching with us, and this was amazing just to see that we shut down Staten Island. Shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing.
Just to let you guys know, there are uprisings in the Sudan. There are uprisings in South Africa. There is an uprising in Haiti. There needs to be an uprising in America. As African people, we are systematically oppressed. You can't continue to sit back and say, oh, well, you know, that happened to them, and if they would have did this, then that wouldn't have happened to them. There's no such thing as a perfect victim. That stop applying hierarchies and thinking that if you dress this way, if you have this degree, if you're part of this sorority, if you're part of this fraternity, if your husband is white, if your girlfriend is white, if they're this and that, your kids are biracial, then everything is good. America is built on the genocide of the indigenous people and the enslavement of Africans. Revolution is the only solution at this point in time. Eric will not be the first, and unfortunately, he will not be the last person to be systematically exterminated by the NYPD. We keep adding names to this. We keep adding names to this. And when I speak about systematic oppression, gentrification got us as African people spread out. But guess what? You got to sit back and say, I don't care how far I gotta go. If one of my people is being oppressed in Staten Island, I'm gonna get my black ass on the ferry and I'm coming through. I came from uptown in the Bronx, last stop on the 2 line, to represent this queen who had to deal with insults of her family and being shitted on by the bullshit ass mayor's office. Bratton sat back, and instead of firing Pantaleo, they let him sit his ass at a desk and make 6 figures. If I don't do what I'm supposed to do on my job, they're gonna fire my black ass right away. You too. As working class people, we have to organize and mobilize and fight back against genocide of black people and brown people in this country. It's getting worse, it's getting more audacious, and they laughing in our faces. And for all the white people sitting up in here, you came through. What are y'all gonna do on a day-to-day to address the privileges that y'all receive from our oppression? I've said this before and I'm going to say it again because I see some new faces and I see some old faces. It is your job as white people to dismantle the system that you benefit from. See, everybody, it's cool to come with a sign, but are you going to give up that position at work that you know you really don't deserve, and that black or brown person deserves it because they got more qualifications than you? Are you going to understand the need for reparations outside of the construct of Israel? Are you going to understand that as black African people, we are 400 years behind due to the enslavement of our ancestors, and that is why we are owed reparations? So if you can't do that, don't show up here for this woman and don't show up here for this man. Because it's more than just performative social justice work. Dismantle this system. Dismantle these hierarchies. Say her name.
Erica Garner.
Say his name.
Eric Garner.
Say her name.
Erica Garner.
Say his name.
Eric Garner.
Say it again. Fire!